The media immediately says, oh, no, he hasn't seen these spacecraft. He hasn't seen these aliens. Well, they didn't see the weapons of mass destruction back at the time of the last Gulf War, but they were very happy to cheerlead the American government and the Australian government and the other allies into a war in the Middle East that was utterly ill-conceived.
And it is true that much of the intelligence turned out to be wrong. As president, I'm responsible for the decision to go into Iraq.
So let's just have a look at the double standard that's being applied by media right now in terms of how they are approaching the Dave Grush allegations. The simple fact is, this is a man who personally was involved on a daily basis in writing the intelligence briefings for the President of the United States. He hand-carried those briefings into the West Wing of the White House. He has a top-secret, compartmented security clearance still, which obliges him not to talk about things that prejudice national security. And one would think, yes, for him to talk in great detail about things that he knows about the program may very well breach US national security. So of course he has to be circumspect in dealing with a journalist like myself. He doesn't want to go to jail. What he wants is for this issue to be investigated. That's all he's asking. He's not asking you to believe him. He's asking the Congress. He's asking the Inspector General. So let's stop all this silly nonsense that somehow there's meant to be a double standard applied when it comes to UFOs or alien spacecraft. Yes, it's confronting. It's an extraordinary allegation. I too have had a lot of trouble believing it. When I heard the things that Dave Grush told me, I was shocked. And yes, in some cases, I was scared. I still am. But you know what I'm most scared about? I'm most scared about the fact that this moment, the allegations of Dave Grush, are a key test of a country whose constitution I deeply admire. I worked briefly as a lawyer, and I've graduated in law, and I've studied the Constitution of the United States. It has protections in place, constitutional protections, to ensure that people have a right of freedom of speech. They have the right to come forward. They have the oversight committees of the Congress are absolutely fundamental to those constitutional rights. And those oversight committees are now doing their job, and so's the Inspector General investigating Dave Grush's claims. What is at the heart of Mr. Grush's allegations is that the oversight by Congress and the oversight by bodies like the Inspector General have been flawed in the past, that there's been deliberate disinformation, not just of the Congress and by people in the Pentagon, but also of the entire American people. One of the things that came out of the Church Commission inquiry into the crimes committed by the CIA was revelations of illegal intelligence operations conducted against the American people in the 1970s on the order of the Nixon administration. And as a result of the investigations by the so-called Church Committee, laws, regulations were brought in to ensure that in future intelligence services in the United States were not allowed to conduct domestic operations against their own citizens. If what Mr. Grush is saying is correct, extremely grave crimes have been committed against the American public, because by any definition, to run an intelligence disinformation operation against the American public is a crime. I know for a fact that Donald Trump has been briefed on what I'm telling you. I know that Donald Trump is in the loop on the phenomenon, on UFOs. I know that to some degree he's been briefed into the existence of a crash retrieval program and the fact that there is a secret reverse engineering program going on in the United States. I know that President Obama, after he left the presidency, was also briefed into it. And if you look online, you'll find various interviews where President Obama noticeably changed his tone and became far more respectful of the notion that there really is something to this UFO issue.
The aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, you know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Did you ever ask for information they said we can't tell you?
No, but I will tell you that there were times where I asked for information and that it came slower than I wanted. Prying information out of the bowels of an agency can be challenging.
UFOs? Any UFOs? Did you ask about that?
Certainly asked about it.
And?
Can't tell you. Sorry.
Okay.
Can
UFOs.
I say it used to be that UFOs was the what is it? Roswell was the biggest conspiracy,
Yeah.
and now that seems so tame, right?
Right.
The idea that
Right.
the government might have an
Yeah.
alien spaceship.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory, and so, you know, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
Similarly with President Trump. Prior to the election that he lost against Joe Biden, President Trump had an interview with one of his sons. And in that interview, he implied he knew something about the Roswell crash. And he did.
Before you leave office, will you let us know if there's aliens? Because this is the only thing I really want to know.